or than Hillary did. Cliff Albright joins us now. He's in Atlanta today, co-founder of Black Voters Matter. That's a nonprofit voting rights organization. Welcome back, Cliff. So I'm just trying to, it's interesting strategy, right? What do you make of it from Harris? She's been in the Atlanta metro area many, many times, but now it's a little bit different. Talk about what you think she's going after here and how successful she might be.
Yeah, Connell, thanks for having me. I think it's a brilliant strategy. It's actually the strategy that we at Black Voters Matter have used over the past 6 years that we've been doing work in Georgia where we're based. It's a strategy similar to the Stacey Abrams strategy and the entire ecosystem here in the state, which is for some time recognized that in order to change the state, we can't just be focused on Metro Atlanta. It takes all of those areas that you mentioned, Chatham County, right? Richmond County, which is where Augusta is, Columbus, Georgia, Macon, Georgia, and then those rural counties. And thank you for mentioning Washington. That was one of the first counties that we reached out to when we started doing work in some of the smaller counties in South Georgia, Albany and Dougherty County, right? Where Valdosta is. And so that's the way that you build a movement. And by making people there feel like that they matter, right? That they're all connected, that they're not just in a small battle in their sometimes red county where they're used to losing elections, but getting them to see that we are all connected, that we're a part of a movement. And when we show up in big numbers, even if we're not winning a county, right? Even if we're not changing the results in just one of those counties, right, that together that wave makes a difference.
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. The only reason I mentioned Washington today was because I was noticing the Harris campaign's really focused on it. They mentioned Jenkins too. Their infrastructure. They said they have campaign offices there, even in some of the more red areas where they think they can narrow those margins. Now, let me ask you about the black vote in particular, if I can, in Georgia. It's interesting in North Carolina as well. I think we have a graphic that shows black voters overall. It was a Morning Consult poll. There it is. Who would you vote for if the election were held today? This was recent. That looks like a blowout. It is 72-19, but isn't that number way too low? Doesn't Harris have to be up around 90 or so? Or what's your thought? I know we've talked about this before and where it is and versus where it needs to be.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it needs to be up as high as 90. I think ultimately it will be as high as 90. I mean, I think even in 2020, I think the number was probably around 88. I know Trump got around 12% or something like that. And so, yeah, it doesn't have to be at 90, but I think it will end up there. And I think what you're seeing is through this strategy, through this campaign strategy of coming to Georgia, of coming to the other parts of Georgia, where maybe those numbers are lagging on you a little bit because folks are used to not seeing the Democratic candidate in some of those counties that you mentioned. I think the more that they do this strategy, the more that they do this outreach, which will include their visits, it'll include door knocks, it'll include phone calls and all of that. And the more that their message gets out there around like the policies that they're actually talking about and the ways that it will benefit rural Georgia, the more that information gets out there, the more you're going to see that 72% number slowly tick up.
Even with black male voters, that seems to have been a concern earlier in the campaign and even for Harris. Is it still?
I mean, it's always a concern because you always want to reach more and more people, right? But again, I think the more that black men are having these conversations, learning about the differences between these candidates on economic policy, on police accountability, on all of these issues, on housing, the more that those conversations take place, the more that accurate information gets out there and not just disinformation. Then in all conversations I've been in with black men, young and old, even the ones that start off skeptical, when we have the conversation and give them facts, give them accurate information around what these candidates stand for, the response is always the same. Somebody says, oh, you know what? I didn't know that. Oh, you know what? I wasn't going to vote, but now I think I will vote. Oh, you know, I didn't really like her before, but now I know more about her. That has consistently been the response. So the more that these conversations take place, the more I expect to see those results amongst black men and all others.
Yeah, it's not just North Carolina and Georgia, it's other states as well. And as a final point, I want to be clear on this, too, because we're talking about all the momentum for Harris and all that. If we look at the tablet and bring up the numbers, this is not a state she's winning, as far as we know right now. This is still, we have it as an advantage Trump state. There you see Georgia at the top, Nevada and Arizona. Those are the three kind of advantage Trump states. Is it still, Cliff, you think, and this is why I say all voters, black, white, Hispanic, would you name it, are important in all these states. The best strategy, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, turnout voters in Philadelphia, in Milwaukee and Detroit, and win it that way. Is that still the best bet for Harris?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that she's expanded the map. I think a few months ago, people had basically given up on Georgia and North Carolina,
Yeah.
and now they're both very much in play. And I would actually even say, and I think some polls have shown her either tied or in the lead
Hmm.
in Georgia. So yeah, I think that that's definitely the strategy, that they expand the map, that they ride this wave, that they continue to do outreach. Don't take anything for granted, because we saw that in 16. And I think that as long as they work, what to date has been an incredibly smart strategy,
Right.
from the launch through the convention. I think the more that they work this strategy and have these conversations, I think that at the end of the day, they'll be fine, and Kamala Harris will be president.
And they have the money to do it, which is also important. $500 million raised, that helps you. Atlanta
Yeah.
commercials, for example, are very expensive. Thank you, Cliff. Good to have you back on.
Thank you.